Hello, I'm Peter Jurczyk. I played Ambassador Lando Molare on Babylon 5. Please join me, will you? On Science Fiction Snob on Wednesday, January 28th at 8 p.m. Eastern. You moon-faced assassins of joy, I will do a live, exclusive interview for you. Try to be there, yes?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to The Point of No Return, the Babylon 5, Season 3 Retrospective. This week on the show, we are talking about Episode 6 from Season 3, Dust to Dust. But before we do, let me welcome my co-host. He's the man who you should contact for all your dust needs. It's Cam. Say hello, Cam.
Hi, everybody. Good evening.
Hello, yes. Cam, is there anything big and important we need to talk about before the show starts?
Well, other than that big news that was just presented.
What?
You know, the interview that we have been graciously granted.
This news right here, the Peter Jurczyk next week, less than a week from now, because we're starting the show a little early. 3 hours early, I think, overall, just to get the time, better for the guest and everything. So that'll be an early show next week. Don't miss it. Make sure you're here for the show. Anything else you want to, big announcement you want to make?
Nope.
No, are you sure?
Pretty sure.
Come on, you don't have to be coy with me. It's okay.
Okay, I won't.
It's my birthday week this week, right?
No, I had no idea about that.
Yes, I told you on Sunday, and I know you've been, you always get birthday presents for the people you love. So, do you want to tell me and the guests anything about?
Check the record, everybody.
Are you saving it for the show on Sunday?
Yes, yes.
You know that technically this Sunday show is the start of the last week, so it actually wouldn't be my birthday week; it'd be the next week. But okay, that's all right. If you want to be, if he wants to be coy, waits the last minute, that's okay. I have patience. I can wait. I don't mind. All right, let's get on with the show. Let me bring in our co-panelists for today. Of course, there's our regular co-panelist, Death Angel Shadow. Welcome, Jeff. Is he there? I don't know if he's there or not, but maybe
he's there somewhere. He's there
somewhere. And of course, we have Dean from Untold Destiny. He's been on the show before. Great panelist. Good to see you as a guest panelist for today. And I will mention that there are some spots in this season open for guest panelists. If you'd like to come in, don't let Dean hog all of them.
Please don't. I'm having to fill in so many good episodes left, and it's not anywhere near as scary as it looks. So yeah,
it's pretty easy. We're pretty relaxed.
Oh, it is incredibly.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
I don't know, what do you get for a 1,000-year-old man? There are spaces open. So if you're interested, all you need is a microphone, and you probably should have a headset too, so you can listen to the show without echoing. We don't like that. The people don't like that listening. But other than that, hey, if you're interested in the show, you got some opinions, you could come on. Just let myself or Cam, one of us know, one of the regulars know, and I'll put you in on my spreadsheet. All right. Okay, good. Should we say? So anybody want to say hello to people in the chat?
Hello.
Anybody want to do the honors?
Outpost.
Jeff, you spoke first. You want to do the honors?
Sure. Outpost. I see. Deep Pensac. That's Dave, right?
That's Dave.
And let's see. Oh, I see Cam, and I see Madman, and I see, romper room style here. That's all I see for now. Let me see who else has been in here. Did I miss anybody?
It says we
Umbras.
have
Umbras. I saw Umbras there.
Yeah, welcome everyone. It says we have 10 watching. If there's a few lurkers in down below, hey, that's okay. No problem.
right.
No problem. We don't. Yeah, if Q2 is here, Madman. Yeah, he's calling everybody Moonface assassins
Moonfaces.
with joy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Outpost Nerd is here. Yeah, time to show a little bit of gratitude. I agree. Yeah, all right. Shall we jump right into it, gentlemen? I guess we should start with trivia from last week, and then Cam will do the summary. We'll get right into the show. I don't think you guys don't have anything, right?
Let's do it.
Before we get started? I don't think so, right? All right. Let's jump right to it. Okay, so hopefully I got this on the right scene. All right, here we go. You know what? I'm going to put this over here. So last week questions were, what was the code that Garibaldi receives from Ivanova? And who says, it looks to me like she's already all over you? Does Jakar offer to Garibaldi? Who is the unseen person with Clark in the conspiracy video? And in what other episode is Planet Sigma 975?
957.
Sorry, 957. Excuse me. Thanks for correcting me.
It's my job.
Easy.
My lot in life.
Yeah,
these are all pretty easy.
Pretty easy. I think we answered most of them during the show. And of course, you know, I rate these myself, and I don't tell the other guys, so it's not like they're trying to give you the answers, nothing like that. But okay, so our answers: the code that Garibaldi received from Ivanova is, of course, 7R, and it's Ivanova who says, "It looks to me like she's already all over you." That's the scene with Ivanova just sort of shows up in Sheridan's quarters when what's her name is naked there. Oh my, scandalous. Jakar gives the book of Jaquan to Garibaldi. The unseen person with Clark in the conspiracy video is Morden. You can kind of tell. It's a little hard to tell by his voice. That one was a hard one, but I looked it up, and it's Morden for sure. And, of course, the other episode with Planet Sigma 957 was in Mind War in Season 1, where I guess it's Sinclair's girlfriend goes there. She's like a pilot of some type. I can't remember. She's a transport pilot, or she's doing a job for one of the corporations, and they're checking it out for some reason. And yeah, she gets caught, and Jakar saves her, if I'm correct, if I remember that back.
Well, Jakar sends somebody to save her.
Jakar sends somebody to save her.
Yeah, he pulls in a favor.
Yeah, so yeah, all right. And that's last week's trivia questions. Hope you got them right. Cam, you want to get us started?
Absolutely. As you mentioned, season 3, episode 6, episode 50 overall, Dust to Dust, written by J. Michael Straczynski. Original air date February 5th, 1996, and 306 in production order. So right in line with the air order. The conspiracy of light is jeopardized when Bester comes to Babylon 5 to find the dealer of the telepathy inducing drug Dust, one who has made Jakar's acquaintance.
Right on. So I'll go into a little bit detailed. The episode starts off. There's a security guard. He is bugging a shop owner about putting up some posters which criticize the government. And Sheridan steps in and puts a stop to it. Tells the guy that this better not happen again. And then we cut to Garibaldi in an office. Ivanova walks in and he says, "Hey, wait, you're going to like this, meeting this guy." Turns on the comm. And of course, it's our best friend, Bester. He's coming to the station. He's going to be there in a couple of hours. And he has something, quote, a matter of station security to deal with. Of course, Garibaldi is very suspicious. He thinks it's something else. And of course, you know, we all know that, hey, Bester's a telepath, and he's probably not big on following the rules. He could easily scan the, Ivanova, a whole lot of them, and find out that they're up to no good. And then the last scene before the intro is there's some sort of fight going on in another part of the station. I'm not sure if it's down below or not. And the guy's crazy. He's spouting stuff, and he's ripping things out of the wall, beating people with it, just generally being crazy and hurting everybody. And then of course we cut to the intro. I guess there's sort of two main things going on here. There is the whole Bester and the getting of some shipment of dust, and there's also the subplot of Veer returning to the station. I guess I'm going to go through. I'm going to start with the conspiracy itself, and maybe flip back a little bit. I'll tell you what. So first starts out with the conspiracy meeting. All the mains are together, and they're basically say what I mentioned. Hey, we can't let Bester come here and just walk around and scan us. He'll find out everything we've been up to. How do we stop him? Should we kill him? Franklin's not big on killing him. Some of them don't seem to be too bad about it, but basically, Sheridan says,
him a little.
"Yeah." Sheridan says, "Hey, we're going to find a different way." So then we cut to a scene where they've got Franklin is talking. They're looking after some patients. He's got the crazy guy. They've got him all tied up. They're trying to treat him, and another woman comes in, and because of what the crazy guy's saying. And the other doctor gives Franklin the background on the other woman who was found. The doctor comes to the conclusion that it's probably dust, because the dust works by you take it and then you can read the mind and get all the experiences of the next person, the person that you're reading of, and it can throw people off. And yeah, also the doctor is acting a little bit on edge. Maybe this is related to the stims thing. Maybe. Then Bester arrives on the station. He is waiting to dock. Ivanova clears the command deck, and she goes and she's about to kill Bester and claim it's some sort of malfunction with the station's guns. But Sheridan just comes in just in the nick of time to stop her and tells her not to do it. Then Bester comes in. He comes in the station. He's a little bit suspicious. How come I had to wait so long? And I felt something bad. The security guard takes him to a meeting, and the command staff is all there. And each of them has a Minbari telepath who is basically protecting them. And it comes out that Sheridan does not trust Bester. He tells him straight up, and we're not going to deal with him alone without these telepaths unless he takes the drug to suppress his powers, which he does, no problem. Yeah. So then we get a little bit of how dust works from Bester. As I mentioned before, it invades the mind. It lets you to experience everything that the other person experienced, and it especially is bad for telepaths, and that's why we have to stop it. And of course, the staff is like that, is good with that. Franklin is not happy with the whole dust thing. He barely has treated anybody for it the last 6 months, and he's had 3 cases already. So we then see that it's Jakar buying dust, and he wants to use it against, quote, his enemies, which we assume the Centauri. And we also learned that the Narn telepaths were exterminated in the past.
Yeah.
Narn. That's why they're not there. We cut to Bester and Garibaldi are walking along. Bester gives a speech about how a typical sort of speech that someone who breaks the law might give, saying, "Hey, we protect you from a bunch of things that that you don't even know about." And Garibaldi just sort of takes it to it. Then we see Jakar taking dust on himself. He has some sort of psychedelic visions and something out of the right out of the 60s, and then he sort of stumbles out of his quarters, and he's appearing to seek out Londo. From there, I'm going to cut to the sort of the Londo, the Veer and Londo part. Veer returns to Londo. Londo seems happy to see him. They talk a little bit, reminisce a bit. Londo and the Drazi are having some sort of negotiation about how many planets the Drazi should give up. The Drazi are upset about it. Londo wants too many planets. They leave very angry. Veer makes some interesting comments afterwards to the Minbari are there, and they are sort of acting as negotiators. They don't do much or a good job. Maybe we'll talk about that later. It's kind of an interesting scene. Yeah, I'll leave that for later. Then we have Veer giving his report to Londo about the Minbari. Londo calls the report very naive, and about that time, Jakar, as I mentioned earlier, comes out and attacks Veer, sort of throws him out of the way and grabs Londo. We don't see Jakar beat him, but we see Londo as beaten and bloody on the ground, and we have a scene where Jakar is obviously in Londo's mind. They go back and forth. Jakar learns about Londo's posting to Babylon 5, how he got it and how he was a joke. He sees Morden. He finds out about the Narn outpost that was wiped out, the Narn homeworld, basically everything that Londo learns that Londo has done. Then Jakar has he sees his father, and he another Narn who his father, another Narn shows up who gives him advice about forgiveness and suffering and the cycle of death, and I'm sure we'll talk a lot about that. And then we see an angel which looks kind of Narn, and it's obviously, if you've been watching the show, it's got to be what Jaquan or what Kosh looks like to the Narns. And then it ends, and then we see, of course, Kosh to be standing by, right in the same room as the two of them, as they sort of emotionally. Then switches. We see Veer and Londo pretty beat at bay. Jakar admits guilt. He goes in front of the judge. He gets 60 days in jail, which I thought was a little bit less. Veer is going to go.
I said that too.
Veer is going to go back to Minbar, and Londo mentions to him make sure you keep the respect from Centauri for your position, and then so that's I'm going to go back and just the Garibaldi investigates, and he finds out who's bringing the dust on, and he does find out that it's supposed to be sold to Jakar. Jakar used just a little a sample to go on his killing spree. Garibaldi and Bester focus on catching the guys bringing in the humans bringing in. They catch them. Sorry. First, they get a guy who knows everything that's going on the station. They interrogate him. Bester kind of tricks him. They get him to give up who it is. They go and they find out where the thing's going on. They catch them, and take the dust. Everything's hunky dory. Near the end of the episode, Garibaldi escorts Bester. Is escorting him out of the station. He's in a hurry because the drugs are about to wear off. And then as Bester is leaving, he gets met by one of his fellow Psychops, and they talk about dust, and it becomes obvious to us that dust is actually something that Psychor made and let get out. So, and then lastly, the last scene of the episode is Jakar is in what appears to be jail, and he's contemplating on the Jaquan. He seems to be in a more spiritual headspace or something, but we can talk about that in detail too. So that's it, Cam. It's the quick, the detailed discussion of what happened. Let's I'll turn it to you to jump into it.
Okay. Well, and as we usually do, go over the A and B plot. In this one, it seems like a and A2 plot for me. The first one is the Bester Dust storyline, which segues pretty heavily, of course, into the Jakar storyline, which is a branch off of the kind of a broader Londo and Veer story. So things seem pretty tight in terms of how they cross over. Well, I guess the dust is really all that crosses over it, but obviously they're related. Dean, since you're our guest, which would you like to lead off, the Bester end of things or kind of the Londo?
And there is a right answer, so pick correctly.
I think the Londo one's probably a good one to start with, but I'd also like to touch on the opening scene if we can as well.
Okay,
the
well,
shopkeeper.
Yeah, let's start with that. Go ahead if you like.
Yeah. I found it, I mean, at the moment we're seeing this build-up of Night Watch, and I think this is one of the first times you see them actually using a lot of authority and trying to clamp down on the shopkeeper. And Sheridan coming in, the first thing I noted, what was the chain of command here? Because Sheridan was giving this guy a direct order, and the guy was like, well, no, it's my job to do this. So I think we're beginning to see a real conflict between what Night Watch are doing and what the command staff want their staff to be doing. And I just wanted to comment. I don't think there's a case in history ever where people censoring are the good guys. And this is really beginning to show the lines between, you know, what's happening at home, how it's spilled onto Babylon 5, and how they're now using powers that don't seem to come from the military, because it's not coming through the command staff to these people. It's coming through Night Watch, and how they're using those powers now to try and squash anybody talking out against the government.
I found it interesting that the line that the guy gave as a response, just following orders.
Yeah.
You
Classic.
know,
That's
yeah,
just the-
I was just following orders. Yeah, that I think we see.
well, and obviously that was intentional, right? You know,
Oh yeah, that's clearly a reference back to you know, World War II Germany and Italy. You know, so
Right.
Yeah.
Well, one point, Dean, we did see I think in an end scene, it was an episode where Zach had kind of been coerced to give some information on somebody, and it was, like I said, it was kind of over the end, maybe over a voiceover or something, where a shopkeeper was getting dragged away, you know, and his shop was being closed due to sedition or something, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is I think the one where we actually see an active scene. And of course, like you mentioned, Sheridan is involved in this. And your point about, you know, it's like, this is kind of a Praetorian Guard, you know, situation where you've got Night Watch that's not really seeming, I mean, the guy was clearly being pretty darn uppity. Right. Yeah, exactly. With Sheridan, and Sheridan's like, you know, what?
you might want to watch your tone, or you're not gonna have a good time in the future here with me, are you, bud?
But the other side of the coin is that, you know, the captain of the station shouldn't be going around to the, you know, the lower ranks and saying, don't do this again, don't do this again. He should be going to Garibaldi and saying, hey, get a grip on your people. I don't want them doing this. Now, however, the situation might have been, I mean, I could see Sheridan doing that if this had happened a bunch of times and he had told them over and over again and they were ignoring him. He might get mad enough to say straight to his face, listen, this better not happen again, and pointing at this guy himself, because he's told them a million times and they know that. So
now the shopkeeper called him directly, though. Apparently somehow was able to you know, request his presence. But yeah, I agree with what you're saying, but
well, that's the way it works out. Like, that's the way it works out. It doesn't make Sheridan look bad. But I suspect that maybe has happened because maybe Sheridan wouldn't normally, I mean, it's the 250,000 people in the station. He wouldn't normally come, but maybe he's been around. Maybe this has happened a bunch of times. That's the impression I get. And that Sheridan said, hey, call me if there's something. Like, he might have said this to this shopkeeper or to a bunch of other shopkeepers, and they, you know, they all know it. And so they're appealing to him, and he's coming because he's promised to come. So I would suspect that just the way this is laid out, unless, you know, GMS doesn't know what he's doing and how, you know, ranks and how command structure works, that the implication is that there's a problem been going on for some time. And this is just, we're just seeing a piece of it where, you know, like, you know, and Sheridan's kind of lost his cool in a sense, or at least fed up with the way it's been going.
Points out something that, yes, he did.
I think he did mention that.
He did mention this is the fourth time this week or something like that. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So there you go.
So he has been dealing with this as a problem, and we're seeing this. This has been building over several episodes, you know, since Night Watch was introduced. So it's not like, you know, that was like the season finale, you know, the last scene in what last season, wasn't it? Was the store being closed for charges of sedition or whatever. So
Yeah.
And
another point with this, and Gene, I'm glad you asked to talk about this, because this is a very key scene, even though it was very brief, is, you're dealing with some human psychology here too, right? You've got this guy who's a nobody, probably, he's somewhere, he's a security guy, not particularly high ranked. And this guy's full of himself in terms of power. It's like, oh, I'm important. Yeah, I'm doing the job of my government. I'm deciding who's disloyal or whatever. And that's a very intoxicating sort of draw for certain people. And maybe all people, there's been some commentary in the world that, it's like everybody thinks that they're going to be the hero standing up against the bad guy. And it's like, no, you're not. You're going to be the bad guy. It's very likely. Yeah. So, yeah.
I would, I agree. I would just suggest that this guy, Zach is a sergeant. Zach Allen's a sergeant. Mm-hmm. This guy's probably not higher ranked than that. Like he's probably maybe
patrolman,
maybe lower.
Basically,
maybe he might be the lowest rank there is on the bottom.
He's on the foot patrol.
But he might be.
But that's Dean brought up a good point about that. It's like, well, what is it? So this guy suddenly thinks that he's elevated, to the point where he's challenging the commander of the station.
Yeah, and that's it. You're challenging the top person, and then you're saying, "I'm only following orders." Well, whose orders?
Yeah,
right. Those aren't
definitely not through the chain of command.
And those aren't regulations, so you're not following. Well, and I think that's part of the purpose of Night Watch, is to undermine the authority of.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And of course, we'll see more of Night Watch coming.
Of anybody who's not complicit in this.
I'm sure, it seems like they're building up to something. I don't know.
Yeah, clear. But, these are more little, like more little breadcrumbs, on the trail, I think, that are left that are going to be answered in probably an ultimate climax in a future episode, I suspect.
And I'm looking forward to that. I like the way they're doing that.
Yeah.
It better pay off.
Yes.
Anyway.
But otherwise, I think shall we start with Veer and returning from Member?
Yeah,
sure. Let's go for it. Go ahead, Dean. You go.
Okay. Go Veer looking very dashing in the Membari welcoming garb.
Ceremonial, welcoming.
Yes.
And Lando's like, oh, it's nice. Take it off.
I had to have the sleeves pulled
Wear
up.
Wear it there, not ya. I think Veer showed such pride, and he didn't consider his posting an inconvenience or being put out the way. He went into it wholeheartedly to write a fantastic report. They treated him well, and I love the whole. He comes back, and it reminds me, how the truth, when politicians get hold of it, how the truth slowly gets eroded. And with Lando changing Veer's report piece by piece, they're
tearing it apart.
People. Yeah. They're falling apart. They can't keep up their cities. They're spiritual. Yeah, leave that in. People are afraid of that.
Yeah, that was a particularly funny in a bad way, maybe kind of comment. It's like, ooh, that was pretty sharp, which coming from JMS, who is, at least agnostic or atheist, that's kind of a barb at those people. It's, oh, those spiritual people, they're dangerous. It's, So anyway,
I didn't even think about that in relation to, the Centauri, knowing that the Narn are very spiritual people. That's a good point, Cam. I didn't even connect the two.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Dean. Go ahead with your.
Well, I think that was pretty much that whole sort of sub, as you said, it's kind of like a plot A2 kind of thing, which is Veer just coming back and delivering this report, and you can see with Veer, he's getting very frustrated with Lando that he probably spent days, if not weeks, writing this report, and then Lando's just quickly changing it, and because it's inconvenient for the court.
Right.
Okay. Hold on. I want to defend Lando a little bit here, because Lando knows what the Centauri court is like, And, Veer is probably going to come off as, if he sends the report the way it is, he's going to come off as naive. And honestly, he is a little naive. I mean,
Sure.
I mean, we know he's naive anyway, but, it's his first time on Minbar. Of course, the Minbari are going to show him. I mean, it's like going to North Korea. I mean, Minbar is not North Korea, but, they're going to show you all the good stuff. They're going to try to win you over. They're hoping that you're going to go back and say these wonderful things about him. And Veer is doing just that. And they might all be true, but the fact that he is so, effusive with his praise and everything, the people on the Centauri back, home are going to go, wow, this guy is totally naive. Let's get him out of there. Or let's ignore everything he says from now on, because he's totally in love with all these people. Like, we can't trust this guy. He's not looking out for our things. So even if it is completely true, everything that Veer says, he can't send it home that way, because then he'll lose credibility and they'll never listen to him again.
Well, and he did point out that the military, except for the military cast, he does, and that kind of bolsters the things that I've been saying about, I suspect that that cast and of course the upset of the balance of the was it the Council of Nine or whatever? Great Council.
Yeah.
That with the military having 4, and I think there's some connection to shadows on the Minbari side. I think that kind of goes hand in hand with that. More like, yeah, they don't like this and that and the other. They're trying to. So.
Yeah. And of course you got the scene with Veer in the meeting, Veer and Lando with the Drazi, which I think is part of this sort of plot line.
Yeah, let's go into that.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Right, would you like me to take it? Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. So we're beginning to find out Centauri's aggressions, and I think it's been hinted at before, and now we're getting real evidence.
Right.
Veer looking incredibly uncomfortable during this, and Lando again. He seems to be taking the power of the court, the Centauri court, and using it very heavy-handed. I don't think we get told who the 2 Drazi are, but I think they're the normal ambassadors on board the.
One of them is the voice
council.
sounded the same as we've heard before. So.
Yeah. But it's taking so what was it? They wanted 2. Centauri Prime wanted 2 of their colony worlds, and it sounds originally
as a buffer zone.
It sounds like there's been a lot of fighting, so an actual conflict now between the Centauri and the Drazi, and now they want 7 colony worlds for the buffer zone.
Right. And the guy points out, it's like, you wanted 2, and he's like, well, now you see, now you caused all this trouble, so now we need compensation, so we need 7 now.
Yeah.
And so so in I forget when, but it was right after they destroyed the Narn. They had mentioned that the Centauri had started moving on the Drazi and the Pakmara, I think it was, and kind of doing this, and now this is the extension of that they've continued that effort. Obviously, doesn't seem like it's a full-on war effort like they did against the Narn, but definitely kind of pushing the border a little bit.
Yeah, although there were threats that if the Drazi didn't give in, they would meet the same fate as the Narn.
Right. That
threat
wasn't very subtle.
That was not a subtle threat.
No.
That was actually kind of I was kind of taken aback when he would actually say that. Who was there from Babylon 5 itself?
No,
Delenn
and
Delenn was there. Delenn and Lanier, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Now
they were kind of the mediators, I guess.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They had agreed to mediate that, and they tried a little bit, but like Lanier was like, well, what is reasonable, to you, trying to get to it. But I actually would have liked to hear Delenn at that point speak up and say, that's not going to happen again, kind of, meaning when he was talking about the mass drivers, like, no, because that would have put down, and I think Lando would have kind of been like, okay, maybe, back off a little bit on that.
I think she's trying to keep her hand, her hand hidden
close to the vest, especially with the
yeah.
Because she's working with the Rangers and
I'm
and if Mimbar is compromised, at least one pillar of the government there is compromised. That could be the type of thing you don't want out.
Okay, but here's the thing though. I'm not saying that she should have said we're going to do X, Y, or Z. I would have left it just as, because the mass drivers are, as Rifa said, words on page or whatever, when he disregarded it. But there are treaties that ban mass drivers, and so I think Delenn would have been totally within her right to say, no, that sort of violation will be considered, unacceptable to the Minbari.
Yeah, I felt Delenn just she didn't speak really during that meeting. She didn't oppose. She didn't support the Drazi.
Right.
But they've the Centauri have already shown they're going to break that rule already.
Right.
They did.
Okay, that's the fallacy of these kinds of things is they are just words on paper, right? Unless someone is willing to enforce them. And what I'm saying is that Delenn, as a signatory of the Minbari probably being a signatory of that, would have standing to say no. We're going to enforce that. Which again, presumably there are agreements that meaning you would expect a reaction. If you break the agreement, you should expect a reaction. And all she had to do was kind of threaten there will be a reaction. But
they've already broken it and there was no reaction.
Okay, true.
If anything, there was a peace treaty with Earth as a result of it.
Yeah, the Earthers just
so the Earth is on
the Centauri got what they wanted there.
Yeah,
Delenn
doesn't have influence.
I think you're right, and that's why Londo's threatening it, because why wouldn't I threaten it? It worked the first time. Exactly. I'm saying that Delenn, again, I'm kind of off subject here. It doesn't affect the story or anything. I'm just saying what I would have liked to see. And Delenn, I think, would have the credibility to make that kind of threat and make look Londo in the eye and be like, yeah, we can back that up if we want. Because the Minbari are not pushovers.
I don't think she has the credibility to make that threat because
he doesn't know that.
They let them get away with it the first time. They didn't do anything. Night Weatherman, thanks for coming by. They didn't do anything the first time. So, what credibility do the Minbar have along with, everybody, Earth, everything? None of them do anything.
I don't know.
Again. And we already know she's lost her status.
But Londo doesn't know that, though. Well, we know that.
Does he?
No,
I don't think he does. But
I'm not even sure Lanier fully knows exactly all of that at this point. Because she kind of soft soaked it when she got booted.
It's not certain.
But I think Delenn's displaying the fact that I think her confidence is a little bit shaken. She knows she doesn't have the support of her people
government
or the council. It was a strange scene. I wish Delenn had done a bit more in that scene, but I understand why she didn't.
Sure.
Yeah. And I think, the whole thing, one is foolish, the other one's frightened, telling which is which. That's the hard part.
I'd like to talk about that. I think that's very significant. That exchange between Veer and Lanier.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Is very telling. Oh, now you guys can. You want me to?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll take it. Well, so Lanier says, that quote that you just mentioned, which is obviously related to, he's referring to Londo. Londo's just left. He's relating to him, and we see that. But then Veer defends him and says, "You don't know him. He may surprise you, or he could surprise you." And the Minbari kind of look. The kind of look that they're giving to me is not like they necessarily disagree. They think it's interesting, but then look, Veer is kind of naive. But I'm wondering if the writers are signaling something, a change that Londo might go through in the future by that statement. Veer might be the one guy who believes in, maybe the only person that believes in the old Luke Skywalker, Darth Vader type thing. He's the guy who's going to believe that Londo can turn away from the bad and become good later.
Well,
and he's mentioning it, but I don't know. I'm not sure. That's what
I know there's some good in him. I know there's some.
Yeah.
Well,
it seems to imply.
It's interesting. I'm sorry, this is a little bit of a sidebar. I was trying to explain to my mother today about Babylon 5. She's elderly, and I'm just, I'm trying, obviously these spiraling storylines, all this crazy stuff, and she's just kind of, eyes glazing over, nodding. But one of the points that I was trying to explain is that about Londo is that there's these two sides to him. There's the real Londo that we see mostly through Veer. Veer's the one that really gets that insight. And then there's the front-facing Londo, the one that's threatening to use mass drivers, despite the fact that he was horrified by the use of them, right? It's like he's fully engaged in this political game and he's keeping up the appearances of it, but that's not where his heart really is. And so
True.
and Veer is telling us, or telling them as well, meaning Delenn and Lanier, about that side. And kind of, he's not going into details about it, but he's just, he is cluing them in to that. Because and we saw before that Lanier, had some interactions with Londo, they, friendly interactions and such. And clearly Lanier is like very disappointed in Londo, even, the episode where he saved his life and everything. And Londo came and tried to do right by him and such, visiting him and everything and staying with him. But, Lanier is really has a pretty strong moral foundation, and he just can't accept it, what Londo's done. And again, Lanier's not a particularly judgmental kind of character either, but this has hit him pretty hard. So,
well, I mean, he is with Morden, but
well, yeah.
He knows evil when he sees it. I don't think
Yeah.
maybe he's too close to Londo to see the darkness in him.
Well, I think
it's a very strong statement he makes, that he says, that there's basically, he's basically implying with his statement that there's no coming back for Londo. He's gone too far.
Right. Lanier.
The evil side, he can't be brought back. And it's Veer who says, "Oh, you don't know him. He might surprise you."
Which I wonder if it's a little bit of foreshadowing, and possibly in conjunction with something that we're going to talk about here later on, with the other plot line with Londo and Jakar. So,
well, you know what? I mean, Veer has also experienced Londo's kinder side, right?
Right.
Including this assignment to Mimbar and other things where he's tried to protect him. And even like you said with Snob, your point about him rewriting his report. I mean, it's trying to protect him in the sense of his standing with the court and the Centauri politics. But the one other point I thought was interesting is how comfortable Veer was making that comment to Delenn and Lanier. We know that he's had interactions with Lanier that they commiserate, about their positions. But the fact that he'd said that in front of Delenn also, it does lend to the fact that he is kind of, being taken by the Minbari side of things, or maybe a little bit of their philosophy. So I kind of like that.
Yeah. And I agree that, as I mentioned, Veer is being a little naive. He's been showing the best of Minbar. They're trying to, pull him to his side as much as possible. And he is being sucked into it a bit. Now, that doesn't mean that the Minbari are have something bad, but of course, if you have a diplomat say all nice things about you, of course.
Well, but I wonder if he in his report, I don't remember if it was in there was he making the comments that he made to Londo about the warrior cast? Is that in his report?
I don't think that was.
When Veer arrived on the station, Londo asked him, how was it? And he said, they're very welcoming. They're really friendly, except for the warrior class.
Except for these guys.
Yeah. And he did talk about, Londo said, "Oh, do they talk about me?" He's like, behind closed doors. So,
yeah. Okay. Anybody have any other comments on that section?
No.
Nope.
Okay. Jeff, do you want to talk about the Bester's arrival and all where we go with that and Ivanova?
Sure. Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously, as Snob said in the kind of the quick rundown, Bester is arriving at the station. I guess they he's about 7 hours away when Ivanova comes into the security room. It's interesting that he called her to the security room and that she wasn't, notified by somebody at the CNC. Maybe because it was a secure channel, maybe because it was a security matter that might have something to do with it. Um, but obviously, she's got some significant concerns about that they're going to find out what they've been up to on the station, and of course, Bester's always been a duplicitous snake throughout. And uh, in this episode, we find out towards the end that that's still the case. But his arrival, Sheridan goes and does procure. Delenn proposes a solution. No, we don't see that. That happens off camera. But when Bester is brought in, of course, he's taken directly to go see the captain or Sheridan, and of course they're all standing around there, and they've got the Minbari with them, um, and they're all wise to his game. So I think maybe first of all, the whole she's obviously slipping a little bit in admitting that she might have some uh, psychic abilities, or some psi abilities there, because she does tell them about blocking, that blocking the minds and stuff like that, and that she is aware that when multiple telepaths are in power, that they can. So she's certainly more knowledgeable of the telepaths than maybe Bester had realized at some point.
Mm.
Would we, anyone want to take it from there? And
Well, I'll make a couple comments. Bester objects to this, of course. He's like, what are they? He mentions, we can't talk about, secure, classified things with them here, and they're basically too bad,
that's yeah.
And they give him, the ultimatum, of course.
The doctor's got a solution,
right? And the other thing is him making that jab about Talia, about we dissected. Oh, I meant
dissect. Yes, I had that written down. Dissect. That's literally what it showed on the on the closed caption.
Interesting question is, was that true? Or did they? I don't know why that they would have reason to. I mean, she was a sleeper agent and whatever.
Well, she also her friend also bestowed some extra powers on her too. Remember, she
right.
But they wouldn't have. They might. Well, would they have known that? Would she have told them?
They might know that now, or she may have.
Well, that's a good question.
I think Ivanova jumps up right away and says, he's just saying that it's not true. So I think that kind of implies that.
Well, Garibaldi's the first one that reacted. Garibaldi was pissed. And Ivanova stepped in right away and said, "No, he's just trying." Well, but Ivanova was actually the cool-headed one that said he's just trying to get a reaction from you so he could read you,
which kind of implies that that's probably the truth.
More knowledge,
because of her knowledge. Like as Jeff mentioned, she's she could have got that knowledge legitimately, but
from her mother, maybe
from her mother, just from being an officer, she could know more than the average. She's the number 2 in the station. She's got access to knowledge that other people don't, and her experience and stuff. But that beside the point, she does have some knowledge, and it kind of reinforces the fact like she's got this knowledge, and then Garibaldi reacts, and she again says something which further strengthens the idea that that piece of information that she's giving is probably correct too. She's already said 2 things that are, that the general characters aren't going to know, and so the third one. That was my reading of the thing.
And if Bester is as intelligent and as cunning as that, to him
And he
would
is.
probably right, and he's shown to be. That is the type of thing that I just kind of write that down in my head, make a note of that, make a mental note that she seems to know a lot more than maybe she should.
Yeah. Well, okay. Yeah. So the whole scene is very much, it's very, like you mentioned, it's very overt in that they're basically putting their cards on the table and saying, we have something to hide,
Yeah, I wanted to talk about that because I thought that was way out of there. But anyway, go. Yeah.
But I mean, on the other hand, they might not have any choice either, But the fact that he's using Minbari telepaths, it's like, I mean, that's got to be making Bester go, whoa, 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 what's going on here? And driving him down, giving him information that, down this path. And so, I mean, they think they have this balance with him in that they can kind of blackmail. It's like they need him he needs them enough to be able to force this or whatever. And he does agree. So I guess they were right on that. But to me, this is revealing a lot,
I would say, like, I was a little disappointed that I thought, I mean, at the last scene where Bester's leaving and he mentions the dust thing, I understand that, but I'm surprised he didn't say something to his cohort and said, they were very, very concerned about me, having a sneak peek into their mind by accident. They must have something huge to hide. Well, I don't understand how he cannot come to that conclusion and then hey, I'm going to send some secret telepaths, tomorrow to scan them or some sort of deviousness to find out what's up.
Maybe he already knows. Maybe he's not really concerned with what they're concerned with. He's concerned with his own plots. And it's like, yeah, I know there's something going on here, but it really doesn't interfere with me directly. So I'm going to deal with my stuff. But
maybe, I mean, that's another level of if Earth, I mean,
that's all speculation on my part. I don't know that.
You've seen the entire show, right? Dean?
Yes.
So just for the audience, to remind the audience, Jeff and I have not seen past this episode, but Cam and Dean have seen the entire series. So, I mean, I would, that is another level of, interesting twist to the story if Bester and Earth know everything that's going on in Babylon 5 and they don't really care. Like, it's beneath their concern because they're not worried about it at all. Like, that would be another level of surprise to me to say, wow, these guys the good guys are doing all their stuff and they're like, sneaking around and figuring this out and keeping it secret. And then the bad guys know everything they're doing. They're just going, yeah, whatever.
It is possible.
That's interesting.
It is potential that Bester really does have the best, and what he thinks in his mind is the best interest of Earthdom.
I'm sure that he feels that way. They all do that.
No, I don't think Bester thinks that at all. I think we've been shown that Bester is interested in what's best for Psychor, not what's best for Earth. So
right. And maybe his
Psychor is what's best for Earth, isn't
it? He views his people maybe in a higher tier.
Well, he's definitely said that. He said that explicitly. Okay, Dean, you haven't said much about this. So what do you think?
Well, I think what you got here is a classic. They know Talia already knew something was going on before she was revealed as being a sleeper agent and taken back to Psychor. So you got a meeting taking place where some of the secrets of Psychor are known by Garibaldi and Sheridan, and Psychor knows some of the secrets of Babylon 5. And I don't think either side knows the full story of the involvement of the other side, which is why at the end, if only you were here a few moments earlier, you could have scanned them. Because I think Bester's got a suspicion, but he doesn't know for sure. And this was twofold, him coming here. One was to scan to see if he's correct. And the other one was to deal with the dust problem because he didn't want to get into the hands of aliens. He wanted that to be purely kept amongst humans.
But it's, well, I was going to say it's definitely it's revealed the involvement that Psychor has had with the dust.
Well, they created it. They're using it to try and see if there are any high talented people out there that the dust brings the talent to life. It's another one of their experiments. But I think Bester said something very interesting, which is with regards to Talia, that was initiated under another program. And it's one thing we talk about Psychor as being this one entity, and I don't think Psychor is. I think there are a lot of silos in Psychor, all doing their own things and all keeping it from each other. And Bester, you're right. Bester seems to, he wants the best for the core, regardless of what's happening. And I don't know whether, you know, my suspicion at this point, and I'm ignoring anything that comes after, but so far, my suspicion is that Bester, he knows there's certain things the core's doing as well. You know, he talked about Talia and how unfortunate that was. Whether he was involved or not, I got a feeling he probably wasn't. Well, I don't think he was involved in the Lazarus Project, for example. We didn't see him in any of those scenes. So Psychor's up to some really nasty stuff, and I don't know whether Bester is actually, he so much wants the best for the core that he's happy to shut down these other programs or do things that jeopardize these other programs where they go against the core and potentially harm Earth.
The question, I guess, is, does Bester know about the involvement that we've seen now that's been revealed of the shadows in the assassination of the former president?
You know, that's a good point, because we do see another Psychor agent there, but why not put Bester there if he was involved, and if you had this whole, you know, why bring in a new guy, like, just from an actor's point of view? Why not put Bester? And Bester's just because maybe he's not involved. But I do want to mention, I want to go back a little bit and mention, I think Dean brings up a good point. You know, when you have these secret societies, of course, they're all secret. So what's the next thing? Is they're going to start splitting up amongst themselves and being even more secretive? So I think it's, you know, more likely than not that there is schisms within Psychor and parts of, you know, secret things, doing secret stuff, and not known by the other group. And, you know, a secretive organization is going to be keeping certain parts of it from other parts anyway. So, the
left hand
could
and
very
right
well
hand.
be, the left hand, right hand. He could very well be, you know, not aware of these sort of things. I mean, why would you tell them?
Well, okay, so there, Dean, you mentioned at the end when the other Psychop showed up, and he's like, "Oh, you know, if you were here, you could have scanned him." But he didn't seem particularly. I mean, it was like, "Oh yeah, I was a little curious about that, and it would have been nice to know." Yeah. But I mean, if he was really concerned about it, wouldn't he have said, "Go follow them"? You know, and I mean, what would have really stopped them from doing that? I mean, they, you know, there was no one there really, at least no one in the know that would have been able to stop them.
What's
you know,
stop him from sending a Psychor
nothing
person in plain clothes to walk about the station and just
that's why I'm saying that he seems to be more interested in whatever it is that he's orchestrating. You know, I'm not saying he's uninterested. It's just he's not particularly interested in.
It's not that important.
Now,
not worried about it.
And going back to now. Maybe there is a reason for that, you know, because, okay, so I went back why they were putting their cards on the table so much. But I guess they could have, they didn't seem to present it like this in the show, but they could have, and maybe it's what was intended, is that because of the situation with Talia and all that, that's the reason they're doing this with the Minbari telepaths, because of their experience with Talia. And maybe that's all that maybe that's what Bester assumes is, oh, okay, yeah, they don't trust me because what went down with Talia, not that there is some other bigger conspiracy necessarily.
Well, he's shown to kind of walk that shady gray area between the letter of the law and what's not allowed. And actually we see this even more so when they are trying to find the dust dealers.
Yeah, you want to talk about that with Garibaldi and all?
Yeah. So
before we go on, let me just just comment on what Cam said. I agree that maybe that's the thing, but I would think that why wouldn't Sheridan say, we don't, you know, come out and say in his little speech where he says, I don't like you, etc. And he could have simply just said, I don't trust, because of what happened with Talia, I don't trust you. Mm-hmm. And that could have been very clear, but he didn't, you know, they didn't.
It would have been it would have kind of distracted him, you know, misled him in the way that, you know, keep him away from the stuff they don't want him to know. Yes, we are at the hour point here, Snob.
Yes.
Before we go into the Garibaldi and Bester buddy cop stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So what might we?
we're gonna just take a 1 minute break or so. We're gonna just trying this out. We're gonna show a little 1 minute break. We mention our affiliates, some of the people involved with the show, and advertise them a little bit. And everybody can take a quick washroom break or get a drink or whatever. We'll
I like this idea. This is
All
new.
right. This is new. We're gonna try it out. All right.
Good evening. Ambassador Lando Molari here from Babylon 5. Please join me.
We'll be right
on
back.
the Babylon 5 retrospective on Science Fiction Snob, Wednesdays at 10 p.m. Central. Yes? Have I ever told you you're very cute for a Mambare?
All right.
Before we go on, Madman says he says the dust experiment was successful, but with Narns. I'm not sure that that's what the goal of the experiment was. I think that they intended to permanently trigger psionic, telepathic powers in humans
to bring them
and,
out.
Yeah, because the human one. I mean, they were getting temporary psychic powers. The people that were going berserk and everything. And the same with the Narn. It might not have been the exact same reaction, but I don't. Well, as far as I know, at this point, I don't think Jakar has permanent telepathic powers, or I have no reason to believe that.
We don't have any reason to believe that is a permanent thing. But I mean, to me, the way that the thought that came to my mind was this was akin to something like LSD. That was developed, in a laboratory with deliberate purposes and given to people as an experiment to treat something at some point in time and wound up having, different effects, let's say. And I think that was very reminiscent of the way LSD trips have been described to me. So
just let me, sorry. Let me mention, PB, I take your point here, but I think, like by him saying we don't trust you guys because of Talia, that kind of pushes if that's what you're talking about, that kind of pushes him away from the true reason why they're. So I wouldn't see why he wouldn't give that if that's what you're talking about. But before we go on, Cam, just real quick, I want to mention this. Snuggie says, I have not seen the entire episode. Yeah, that's serious. That's true. We had this discussion earlier in the when we did this project, about part of the way in, and I polled the viewers, and they said, no, we like you guys not knowing. It seemed that everybody wants to see us, myself, Jeff, and Jason, who hasn't seen the show. They like seeing us not knowing what's going on and trying to find out what's gone. So that's why I purposely decided not to go any further forward and watch any more of the show and just take it one step at a time.
They like watching you float in an ocean of ignorance.
That's right. Everyone
it lets us. It gives us the ability, those of us that haven't seen it, to hype,
react like you would if you were watching it originally
or the first time, and hypothesize about the different potential things. So, I mean,
we took a vote, and most of the people said, no, we like seeing, exactly how wrong you guys are. So, that's why we didn't go ahead. Exactly.
I think Cam and Dean and Madman and a lot of the other guests that we've had on that have seen it, I think they kind of enjoy that a little bit too, because it's like that first time you do something. Oh yes, you guys do. you kind of are waiting to see what kind of conclusions we're coming to, and how far, and you're probably reminiscing a little bit about the first time you saw it.
Absolutely. All the theory crafting I find is quite fascinating, and it does remind me of the first time I watched the show and all the theories I came up with as to what was happening.
Yeah.
Okay. We were going to go on to the Bester and Garibaldi bits. Jeff, did you want to go through that?
Yeah. So, I think, like you said, I don't know if I'd call it buddy cop. I think it's more like two different departments. It's like a homicide and the drug, the DEA or whatever, having to work together or something like that. So there's clearly friction between them for obvious reasons, but there's also friction just because and there's kind of a comparison. It's like, oh well, yeah, your Bester points out, sometimes the uniform does come in handy, and you put that uniform on, and you exude this power, because what happens is they're interviewing, I wouldn't call him an informant, a willing informant, but somebody that has been known to uh, dabble in the underworld, if you will. And he's like, no, I don't move that. Although he did kind of fess up to, he only deals with high value small things that can be easily. So he kind of outed himself, but maybe but the interesting comparison in the intimidation methods that Garibaldi and Bester are both using on this perp, potential perp, whatever you want to call him. It's not good cop, bad cop. It's which one is the worst cop,
Yeah.
because Bester is using psychological intimidation, and Garibaldi is using physical intimidation. And really, what's the difference? In their methods. They're both trying to do the same thing. They're using their own talents, maybe, towards that end, but it's intimidation nonetheless, to try and root out information.
Yeah, and I'll just make a brief comment. Is you see that Bester has these talents as an investigator outside of just being a telepath,
right?
That he's got this sensibility to know where to push these buttons, even without his telepathic powers.
And even the perp doesn't know that. He knows Psychor, so that right there is an intimidating factor as far as he knows. The guy, you can't read my mind without. Well, they never told him that he can't do that. They didn't tell him that he wasn't there to to do that. But so he, as far as the perp knew, Bester could do that, and might still do that even, and of course we know. But it was interesting, Garibaldi calling out Bester for his tactics, and then Bester kind of going, you kind of did the same thing. You do the same thing in your own way. It's really just two sides of the same coin.
Well, that's also that's an interesting point. Bester, you can never quite trust what he's saying, but he plays this kind of like, we're on the same side in this. We both have the same goals, and repeatedly he kind of makes these extension. I mean, he's throwing barbs a lot, but he's also kind of trying to connect to Garibaldi, like, yeah, we do have some things in common. I think he says that explicitly at one point, or something very similar to that.
I like the pinata comment, though.
Yeah, that was kind of funny. But
let me
finish my point real quick. So here's the thing: Garibaldi knows that he can't read his mind right now. And I'm not saying that it's against Garibaldi's character, because it isn't, but it's like maybe the smarter thing to do would have been to play along a little bit. Like, yeah, I mean, because essentially develop him as there's no reason to antagonize him when he doesn't need to. It's like you might be able to get a little more with honey than you do with vinegar, in this case, while they have this unique opportunity, So he probably should have played Bester a little bit on this. And again, it's not like that he's going to be your buddy. He's full of crap, but so what? Play the game, Again, not Garibaldi. That's not Garibaldi's,
Yeah, like I said, it's homicide trying to work with narcotics. They're in their own, maybe again, they're in their own silos, so to speak, but they're kind of at this point almost being forced, or at least Garibaldi is being forced to work with him. And as far as the pinata goes, that was when they're actually getting ready to do the sting. He says, I want to string you up like a pinata. And he's like, "Oh, how nice! You're comparing me to a colorful, lovely shaped whatever, I forget what he says specifically, but filled with candies and toys and bunch of happiness, bundle of happiness, and it's just kind of like,
well,
that's a sarcastic, just like quick comeback to Garibaldi. Garibaldi is like, hang you up string you up like a pinata and beat you, and he just kind of runs the opposite direction with it, And I think that goes to Bester's intelligence and his wit.
Yeah. Okay, Snob, you were going to say something.
Yeah, I was going to mention that I mean, Bester is playing it, pretty perfectly. I mean, this is how he is obviously trying to build up some rapport with Garibaldi.
And he's done it before.
With anybody. And with any, in these type of, military, police, anyone that, fire, any one of these people who risk their lives, there's going to be some banter back and forth. And there's this macho sort of, you insult me, I insult you. I, let your insult, I take your insult and turn it away like he did with the pinata one. So this is perfectly fits into the style of repartee that's going to go between these guys between these groups as they're trying to build a rapport. So I really think he is really, he's really pushing it. He is really trying to build something with Garibaldi. And I mean, to me, you guys might disagree with this, but I feel that he's being a little bit more outgoing and gregarious than he normally is, and that's
you think Garibaldi?
I think some of you, maybe you guys might not
Bester.
agree, but I mean, Bester is.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys agree, but it's that's my impression from the past. He's kind of been a bit of a
killing him with kindness.
And
now.
he's all like,
remember
hey,
before
I
think he told Garibaldi before about, he's like, oh, would you be surprised to hear that I have a daughter and a wife, and because he was trying to humanize himself. And whether that's true or not, maybe we don't know, but anyway, Dean, what do you got to say about it?
But this is like really like that's one thing mentioning my wife and kids, but this is like, he's like, hey, we should work together, and he constantly, hey, your barb doesn't.
Yeah, he's working him. I mean, he doesn't have his telepathic power, so he's using those other skills he has to, I'm just saying that Garibaldi could have played that game a little differently. It's just not Garibaldi. He's too, hard edged. But someone else,
and I honestly don't think, Bester would never fall for it. He wouldn't work on Bester. I don't think. No. Except for him to think, I wonder why Garibaldi's trying to work me so much.
But you see, I don't know, because the inn was there. They did work well together, right? And it's like, oh, we work well together. And he could have played it grudgingly. It's like, yeah, I hate to say it, but you're right. Yeah, we did. And then just leave it at that. It's
they
like,
did.
Kind of don't slam that door in his face all the time. It might not serve your purposes to do that. Just a point I'm bringing up. Okay, sorry, Dean. What do you got?
I thought that was a great scene. I got to be honest. The perp Ashi, I believe his name was. The thing I took away from that scene is right at the start. I think it must have been a very new outfit, uniform, costume, because every time he moved, you kept picking up the squeaking sound. And he's squirming away in this chair, and all you got was a squeak of leather going on. And but I think the call to the badge of power, the uniform, you don your uniform, you exude this power, you don't need actual power. I think that was a great sort of link back to the start of the episode. You had someone from Night Watch and the armband, that badge of power. They didn't need much else. It was just that which was going to be used to intimidate anybody who would talk against them. So I think that was a nice mirror back to the start of the episode. But the rapport Bester has, when you first see Bester, and I believe he first appears with Mind Wars, he really comes across as just being an absolute, he's psycho through and through. Yeah. And slowly over time, you begin to understand he is a person, and maybe he's lying, but maybe he's actually telling the truth, because he knows people want to hurt him. And I think the discussion they had about killing Bester, or at the very least, can we maim him? He must deal with a lot of people where that emotion comes out. So a good counter to that is you humanize yourself to those people. So you don't become this object that can be hurt. You become this person that someone thinks of hurting, and they're like, hang on, he's got a family, he's got kids, and it might soften that kind of response. So I'd imagine Bester probably does that quite a bit. He takes the opportunity, especially with people he knows are very antagonistic against him, to bring that human quality forward and to say, look, I'm more than just a telepath. I'm actually a person.
Well, and, that's an interesting point, because again, you do have someone that is, I mean, Garibaldi even mentioned this when the Psychor first showed up. It's like, oh, they have this thing where they've essentially built this monster because they were afraid of them in the first place. It's like, so again, I'm not sure Bester is, they have pretty bad feelings about him, but let's say someone is in that kind of position where they have their backup and they feel the need to be defensive because they're dealing with people that do hate them. It's like, well, I don't know, maybe offer that olive branch. Maybe it does work. Maybe it does make a connection. Maybe it does, change their mind and show them that not everyone is the enemy that they think, they are. Maybe not with Bester and Garibaldi, though.
Well, with Garibaldi, Garibaldi will never give an inch. If you've made his list, you are on the list pretty much. That's it. And he will not. Garibaldi doesn't. He doesn't pretend. He is him.
Right. Yeah.
So he won't pretend to be your friend if he's not your friend.
I think the most conciliation that he's done is with Jakar.
Yeah, but I think that's genuine as well.
Yeah. But I mean, he doesn't consider Jakar a friend. He kind of considered Londo one at one point, maybe somewhat, at least a friendly acquaintance. Jakar, I think he never had a good thing, but he's seen what Londo and the Centauri have done to Jakar and the Narns, and that spoiled that. But he also recognizes the what they've done to the Narns, what the Centauri have done to the Narns, and is empathetic to Jakar at this point. And that's why he did offer, like I said, he's not Jakar's friend, but he did offer help in certain situations in the past. So.
Yeah. Okay. Anybody have anything else on? Well, I guess obviously they do have the showdown. Where they
catch
get the dealer and everything. They use the
drugs,
hypersonic thing where they're protected and they use it basically to stun them.
That was interesting because I kept on wondering why they were wearing this glowing red glowing earpiece, and I thought at first it was just like for them to communicate, with their team, but then they kick on the sonic weapon, which is apparently it must have neutralized it for them or something like that, where it didn't cause them, But
can I just highlight the really terrible acting in that scene by that one extra? The boys in the lab say hello. You're behind on payments. You're still alive, aren't you?
yeah. They were laying it on kind of thick there with the thing. But I mean, we do see, we see the opposite of that too in this episode. I'm sure we're going to talk about probably next, which is of what Jakar was going through in his interactions with Londo and Veer.
Yeah. No, not all the extras can live up to the standard.
There's a reason why they're extras.
Yes. And I just wanted to highlight again: are we beginning to see a lot more monks now in the background crowds?
I noticed a couple.
Yeah.
That's a nice touch that they are keeping that up.
Yes. Yeah.
All right. Anybody else have anything on this particular topic, or if not, we will move on to the Londo and Jakar.
Let's move on.
I think that's it. Let's go on.
Snob, do you want to do it, or will you let Dean go on this one?
No, go ahead.
Okay, Dean. We've got basically Jakar. We have the meeting with the dealer and everything, and then well, he decides he's gonna try it out. So you want to go from there?
Jakar taking the dust. It proves that Narn do have a dormant telepathic gene. And it was interesting what he said about the fact that anybody who had that was exterminated. And we've seen that with the book of Jakar talks about the dark visitors who inhabited their world 1,000 years ago. And that's when they lost all their telepaths.
Yeah.
I thought the whole of that scene was quite interesting because this was all about now. Jakar, I don't know whether he had always planned it to go this way or whether when he was under the influence of dust, he was just seeking out the truth, or whether he just wanted revenge. But either way, ending up in Londo's quarters, so we were told Dust, the first person you meet, you effectively connect with.
Right.
Well, that would have been Veer, because he was holding Veer up and then dropped Veer before coming on Londo. So there was a definite intent, and I guess just focusing on Londo. The other thing I noted, Jakar's eyes going completely black.
Mm-hmm. Yes, well. I did notice that he went from his red eyes to black.
Yeah, absolutely black. And I wonder what that signifies. It's because we've never seen a telepath, I believe, have complete black eyes like that. So is there a hidden gene? Is there something more special within the Narn?
Have we seen Lita with black eyes? I'm trying to remember.
No, we haven't.
What color were her eyes when she was getting sucked by Kosh? I didn't really.
Well, they were glowing.
They were glowing.
Black.
Yeah,
they were glowing. Yeah. Sorry.
No. So this is the first time we've seen black eyes when it comes to psychic abilities, and I think that's quite telling. Probably something we might want to keep an eye out for, if you excuse the pun.
Oh, you're giving us a hint, huh?
But the whole interaction with Jakar and Londo, I think that was beautifully acted out. And it's Jakar realizing for the first time that Londo is at the heart of everything that has happened. Yeah. And that revelation, knowing it's modern, understanding the steps that it took, seeing what a joke Londo was at the start. And we've seen this through brilliant writing. Londo's slow rise to power, from being this joke of an ambassador on Babylon 5 with the scraggly hairdo that really looked terrible, now to this person who is quite happy to say, no, we're going to take 7 worlds, not 2, because you resisted when we said we wanted 2.
Yeah.
Right. So her eyes were black. So there we go. So this must be tied very closely with psychic abilities or intense.
Okay, so it's something that they're trying to hint at.
Yeah.
Well, remember that this Jakar is having, maybe not at this point when you first see his eyes black, but Kosh does influence him later. But maybe it's nothing to do with Kosh.
So
Lyra's eyes black with Kosh. Kosh is involved in this, but maybe not quite at this time. So
it could be, because we know Lita's more than a P12, I believe, now, after returning from the Vorlon homeworld. They have modified her. So
well, we know they modified her.
Exactly.
We saw that in a previous episode at the very end. And I didn't catch it at first. Jeanette caught it, and she's like, "Did you see the gills?" And I'm like, "Wait, what?"
Those are very sexy gills, I must say.
Yes.
But
but we then see a very interesting scene play out. You've got all this chaos, you got these flashing images, and then it just becomes calm. And I think that's probably when Kosh came into the room.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And you've got Jakar's father on the Gumba tree. I forget the name of it. Yeah. And a very touching scene. And I'm just trying to remember the whole thing about some of us must be sacrificed if all of us are to be saved. Mm-hmm. And we know that's Kosh talking to Jakar.
Right. Well, or Jaquan. Is it Jaquan or Jakar or Jaquan?
Well, it might be either actually, or representation, because we know the Vorlons seem to have implanted this in various races. So they all see the angel that's most applicable to their race. But that
some higher being,
that phrase, does that mean the Vorlons decided the Narn would have to be sacrificed to draw out the shadows, or to keep the shadows engaged, or to keep.
You mean their homeworld?
Yeah.
That's kind of a dark path to go down, isn't it?
I think it is.
Says something interesting about the Vorlons.
Yeah. I think it says something incredibly interesting there.
Well, and they have. Wow, you almost have to wonder if there's not a comparison of the Narn to another group of people in our on our planet that have been made to suffer. Kind of interesting. I hadn't thought about it that way, but
but didn't he, when he was talking to his father, wasn't he a little more direct? I'm not saying that those overtones that you're mentioning aren't there, Dean, but he was talking a little more directly about the Narn and Centauri destroying each other as well. So, I mean, there might be different levels here.
Because you had the discussion with his father, which was all about, it doesn't matter who started it.
Right.
Yeah. If we both kill each other, then who's left? No one will care.
Right.
Yeah. And I don't wonder whether that's kind of G'Kar talking to his own psyche or something, which is the circle of violence can't just keep continuing. It doesn't matter who started it. It's got to stop. Well,
and I think he almost comes under a calm, because he's having this. Clearly, it's a psychotropic type of trip going on, but it's literally a psychotropic trip. And I don't want to use the word that it was described as earlier for obvious reasons, but it's a mental form of abuse. What G'Kar was doing to Londo, and it's almost it almost would be considered an evil act, to do something like that. But it's also understandable why he did that. Maybe chaotic is more. It was definitely not a good act. And I think that he's had this revenge. The question that I have is, when he's going through Londo's memories, I wonder if that's a joint experience type of thing where Londo is also reliving all of these memories that G'Kar is now extracting from his mind. I kind of wonder if and that's where I was alluding to earlier on when I said I wonder if what Veer had said about, well, you never know, he may surprise you. He may do the right thing. Well, making Londo go through these memories of the intimidation with him getting, being nobody wanted that position. That's how he got it, type of thing. All the way up through the horror of seeing his people using mass drivers against a homeworld of another race of aliens, to dealing and getting down in the dirt, making the deal with the devil, so to speak, with Morden and all that stuff. I wonder if that's if Londo himself is going through that. Anybody?
I think he did, because G'Kar and Londo were talking to each other during those experiences. So I think Londo was definitely reliving, and G'Kar was watching and then interacting, because they had a discussion at the end, and Londo was, look, I've broken contact. What I did was wrong. I've broken contact. We no longer,
Well, he thinks he has.
I'm not sure that I'm not sure that Londo saw what G'Kar saw with the tree, and then
I think from that point on, that was definitely.
I think that's when Kosh. I think that's when Kosh came in and interceded.
I would say that there were two scenes there. One with his father, and I don't think Kosh was there for that. I think that was G'Kar trying to reconcile with himself.
When he was on the tree,
and then you had that other Narn talking to Kosh. Talking to G'Kar, and I think that's when Kosh came into the room.
That was Kosh.
Okay, that was something I think you're right. I wasn't clear. I'm like, is that his father? Because I couldn't tell. Looking at them, if it was the same. Yeah, and I don't know. I honestly don't know.
I believe the guy on the ground was obviously Kosh. Now, whether that was
I
the
mean,
representation
did
of
he
his
look
father,
like his father?
it was hard to tell. And
it was very hard
Kosh,
to tell. Yeah.
Was Kosh taking his father's form when he was in the tree and talking to him? I wasn't sure about that either. So
yeah,
well,
I think he definitely
sure
was when he
Kosh
was talking to him face to face. I think that was definitely Kosh at that point.
I thought that was Kosh too.
There is some symbolism though in there because that was a crucifixion.
Yeah.
So maybe his kind of his father died to try and save others, and maybe Kosh triggered it that way to kind of break the psychosis of the drug, and then appeared to him maybe as the older Narn, and he was clearly older because he was like wrinkled. I think that's the first time we've seen a Narn of that age, right? Of that senior status.
I think Jakar's uncle was pretty old too.
Yeah,
I got the uncle-ish type of vibe off of this guy. Like he was an older Narn, and he could give Jakar. Whether that was wise, I still thought it was Kosh, but he was that way.
Let me ask you guys a question. The whole issue of Jakar seeing Londo and his being considered a joke essentially, and then his grasping for power, doesn't that parallel pretty closely with Jakar's attitude? I mean, they both have expressed a willingness to exterminate the other race. So, I mean, is it possible that Jakar's like, wait, I'm not that different from, wouldn't I have done the same thing had I the chance? Because remember where this all started out with Londo. It's like, oh, I want to see the Republic back in its glory. I mean, and Jakar had basically said the same thing. I mean, that's always been his goal. He wants the Narn to be ascendant.
Yeah, right. Bring the Narn to it.
Right. But and both of them, actually, I think Jakar honestly was at least at the beginning more willing to wipe out the Centauri. I think if Jakar had the power at the beginning of the show, the beginning of the series, to wipe out Centauri, he would.
He would have done the same thing. Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Londo is broken from a broken empire that's in decline, and he's like, I'd like to see it back, but I don't see how it's going to happen, and so I'm just going to drink myself and enjoy the decline. Like that's his attitude.
But I'm saying they both.
Jakar is the opposite of that.
But Jakar is like, we want to chew on their bones and.
I'm saying they both. Jakar,
all kinds of stuff like that in the first season.
I'm not saying that their situations are the same. I'm saying that Jakar realized that maybe their mentality was very much
more
the
alike
same
than not. Yeah.
Well, I think that's the reason for having him see that is for him
and
come to an understanding that
that's the whole thing about
Londo,
we have to
humanize Londo a little bit. If we maybe Centauri-ize Londo, humanize him. But
I mean, and that's the reason why Kosh at that point was saying about the sacrifice, and it's like who cares who started it at this point? We're both you're down this path of, and you're both going to perish because of it.
Both of your civilizations are in decline now at this point because of this perpetual conflict between you. A vicious cycle.
Sorry, just before we go on, we're up to it says about my little thing that we're up to 27 viewers. That's great for us. That's I think that
welcome
might be,
lurkers,
all-time high. We appreciate everybody coming in. If you're new to the show, throw your questions, comments in the chat. We appreciate it. And hey, give us a like and subscribe. It helps us with the algorithm and getting them out. We'd appreciate that. So,
especially sub for before next week's, so that you can interact. Had to do a couple of necessary precautions for that. So we want to make sure everybody does sub.
Yeah, and let me put this up. We're trying this QR code thing. I don't know if it works, how well it works, but that is a QR code to go to the Discord where we're collecting all the questions. So if you want to just put your questions in there, Jeff's going to go over them and put them all together and get them ready for Peter. Oh, Q2 says it works. He tried it and it works.
Oh, did he? Okay. Yeah.
Awesome. That's good. This is the first time we're trying this out.
I was just getting ready to do it myself here.
That's the best place to do it. Put it in the Discord. But if not, you can drop a line to myself, Jeff, Cam, drop a line in the comments of this this video after it goes after it goes to off live, and we'll collect them up and put them in there as well. So yeah,
it does work. So yep. Yeah, I've been playing with the QR codes a couple of times when I have guests on, so it's worked really well. All right, so continuing on, what I mean, I think there was a lot of spiritualism that we see, and you almost see a calm and a peace at that point. I think it's pretty obvious that Jakar sees.
Well, first he breaks down, though, right?
He does, yeah. I mean, he's seeing. I think this is. He was there, wasn't he not? When Kosh revealed himself there in the promenade, was he there or no?
I don't think he saw Kosh. I mean, he saw the angelic form, but I don't.
He was in the garden. Remember, he was hiding off to the one side.
Yeah, he's hiding.
And Delenn was telling him to.
Because So
Kosh is surprisingly stealthy, isn't he?
He is.
Yeah.
But he clearly, yes, I think he broke down because now that was to him it was an angelic act.
It's an epiphany.
Saving Sheridan. Now this angelic being is actually talking to him. And that's there's a difference between just seeing a miraculous act and now interacting with someone of a higher
just to correct Outpost, Londo didn't see anything.
I thought it was Londo was the one who didn't see.
Londo did not see
Jakar
anything.
did.
Or is Outpost Nerd talking about this episode where Jakar didn't physically see Kosh there?
I'm pretty sure he did. Yeah.
No,
he doesn't see Kosh. He
didn't see Kosh in the room.
Yeah, he breaks down. He's fine. Kosh leaves. We see Kosh leaving the room.
He never saw it was Kosh.
But he did see.
Afterwards.
He saw him in his angelic form, in the vision. He was still in it.
Now here's the question: what did Londo see?
I don't think
Londo was out at that point. I think
he was unconscious.
Yeah.
Okay.
I do have Cam before you. I do have a question about this before we move on from that.
Sure.
So when you're ready, I want to. Are we? Oh, you okay? Okay, you'll do it now. Now, okay. So there's a bunch of imagery that goes through this scene. Now, there's one particular. I didn't catch them all. I should have went back and watched it a couple times on slow motion or something. But there was one that particularly stood out to me, and I'm curious as to what you guys think. There was something that looked kind of like a sun. It was bright like a sun. I don't think it was perfectly round. It was weirdly shaped like a stomach or something like that. And then there's a hand that comes out of that's glowing. And I was like, what the heck is that? I've never seen that before. What are they trying to say with that? There's something weird there. That's the one image that really stuck out to me.
I saw it and I didn't know what to make of it, but it was brief, wasn't it? It was really brief.
Yeah, they were all very brief. That one stuck out to me the most.
Yeah.
No one's gonna say nothing.
I want to. So you guys, they know.
We can't say anything. I'm sure it might come up.
All right. Anyway,
at some point. We'll see it again. We'll see it again, possibly.
It really stuck out to me.
Possibly,
a hand coming out of what looked like a glowing. It was glowing and it looked kind of like a sun, but it didn't seem, perfectly spherical. It seemed oddly shaped, and it was coming out. And it was just like a quick cut. And then it was one that stood out for me. And I was like, that is something weird going on. Something being birthed from a sun or something. I don't know what the heck that is. But
I think it shows great storytelling with an arcing view where you can drop stuff in that could appear later on.
JMS does a great job.
He does.
He does.
It was pretty bizarre looking, so I think that's why it stuck with me. But
it does. It kind of flashes up.
I guess we're not going to talk about that one too much. That's this.
No.
All right. Well, I'm happy to know that I picked something out that was that is somewhat important.
Yeah, I was wondering whether it had appeared in season 2. I know it appears later on.
In Londo's
Nightmares back in season 2. I don't remember that.
Well, I remember seeing the shadow ships, which is I know there's a name from the spider ships or whatever. I think they're actually in one of the books that I picked up. The different ships are in one of those books I got from the game. But yeah, they were kind of all the different things that he's seeing, and of course this is stuff that Jakar is seeing, right? So Jakar is seeing these
Yeah,
images.
Jakar saw this, not Londo.
Yeah.
I don't think.
They're in Londo's
Maybe.
memory.
Yeah. So
Londo
I
would have
think
been
both of them.
experiencing this too. Yeah.
Yeah, both of them are seeing it because they have that talk at the end where Jakar's like, you were behind it, or rather that was just before, wasn't it? And then Jakar went straight into Londo's mind. So I think the two were linked, definitely linked at that.
Yeah.
There's something interesting in this mishmash of images that I didn't see though. So I'm wondering if this is indicating that somehow the timeline in a sense has been changed or someone's changed their fate. I didn't see any vision of Jakar or Londo killing each other, strangling each other that we've seen in the past, where Londo has this, I'm gonna die like this on each other's hands. And now we're not seeing this, and this is kind of an important thing.
You kind of see images leading up to that scene with Londo on the throne, but you don't actually see the two of them at each other's throats.
So I'm wondering if this has been changed, or why didn't we see that end part? Maybe think something's happened that has changed stuff. But anyway, I thought that was interesting to point out. I'm sure maybe you guys won't mention anything because it's too. But anyway,
revealing. Yeah.
Too revealing. But anyway.
If
I killed the conversation there. Sorry.
No, absolutely not. Can I move on to the bit where Kosh kind of reveals himself to Jakar?
Sure.
Yeah.
I find that quite fascinating. We get the classic line, "I have always been here," and then the wings and the reveal.
Yeah.
And it reminds me very much. You remember in season 2 when Sheridan was kidnapped, and he had visions of Kosh.
Yes.
And the whole "I have been here, your mind is now still and silent." And it got me thinking, you've got Kosh revealing himself to Jakar in this way, connecting truly with Jakar. Is it because the drugs, or is it because Kosh was in the room with Jakar?
I get the feeling that Kosh took away the effect of the drugs at that point, that he because he was obviously having, this moment. But I think that when when the sobbing, when he kind of broke down, and I think that was the point at which Kosh took away the effects that the drugs were having on him, and he almost went into a spiritual type of moment, and eventually you saw that calm. And he was, from that point forward, he was resigned to, I'm guilty. I need to take my penance.
Yeah.
He's definitely reached another spiritual level after that.
Definitely. Yeah.
This is a huge turning point.
Right. Because up to this point, he would have been like, well, he deserved it. He blah, 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 and this and that and the other. You could see him. And he's like, no, I'm going to accept my fate.
Yeah. So if Jakar's the influence of dust, the presence of Kosh allowed that connection to happen, why was there a connection with Sheridan back in season 2? That didn't require anything like that. They weren't even close to each other, yet Kosh was in Sheridan's mind.
Well, there's maybe it could be that you seem to be hinting that it might be more difficult for the for Kosh to maybe connect psychically with Jakar, and that's necessary. And it could be that, or it could simply be that Kosh is using this opportunity to. I was going to say, let me go back a little bit. I was going to say that we've been seeing hints about Jakar knowing more about the conspiracy of light, and trying to worm his way in, or at least find out what's going on, and therefore maybe become part of it. So that's what I've been seeing in the last couple episodes. When he talked to Delin. Last episode or the one before, where he goes, I'll find out. I'll keep digging.
Or is it because Sheridan might have some latent psychic abilities?
No, I've got a different theory, and it all ties together. It was the last episode where you get Lita with the ribbons of energy coming from her, and if you remember, when Sheridan had that person, that entity inside him. And then he went to that time rift, and the same ribbons came out of him. I'm wondering whether that entity was actually Kosh.
Well, I had the same thing. Did I not, Cam? You or no, Saab, I think, and I talked about that, and we were like, I wonder if when Lita was going back and forth to Vorlon's space, when she disappeared and then she came back later on, and that happened. I wonder if that wasn't. I don't think if she was actually, if that was Kosh making a trip back home without taking a ship.
Yeah.
He was taking almost like a possession, but not.
You're suggesting that Kosh is possessing Lita to be able to go on these various trips to different places to do whatever it is he's doing, and
where he's not going to be seen, and he's not going to be seen as a Vorlon, and he's not going to be seen as whatever the Vorlons actually are, the angelic beings that everybody sees. He would just be seen as a human at that point.
Yeah.
And so he can kind of almost like a disguise, but instead of like a demonic possession, it would be an angelic type of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. All I'm doing is raising questions on. I think there's a real connection between Sheridan and Kosh. And I do wonder whether Knives, that whole thing. I think there's still information we're missing on all of this, but I do wonder whether there's a connection. And even though Sheridan's kidnapping happened before the Knives episode, whether there's something else at play there. So Sheridan's always been kind of connected to Kosh in this way, because Sheridan isn't telepathic. He's not psychic. There's no reason why, as far as we know, but there's no reason why. But there's definitely a connection between the two.
Well, didn't he feel obligated to go out there and get that, to return that being? I don't know if that being that he returned was Kosh per se, but it may have been a Vorlon.
I think it was definitely a Vorlon. Definitely, from everything we've seen, and because of the connection, because of Kosh being in Sheridan's mind, I'm wondering whether it was Kosh. But I'm sure there might be an episode coming up there where that might be explored a bit more.
You sure there is? Huh?
There may be
good authority.
If Sheridan's a telepath, I mean, that's just, we've got Ivanova as a partial telepath. I mean, that's too many.
I do agree. I don't think Sheridan will be.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't guess. I mean, he might.
But he has been touched. I mean, he was saved too.
For sure.
I mean, he was touched by Kosh in his pure, in his angelic form. So that right there would have lent, because he was saved by him. Yeah. Something had to hold on to him to safely set him to the ground. So he has been touched directly. And just remember, even the doctor, the original doctor from the
who did the operation. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So they were all recalled back to Earth for whatever. So
yeah. But anyway, that was just my musings on all of that. And I do think you're right. I think Kosh probably removed dust from Jakar, or removed the effects, and that's when Jakar broke down. Yeah. And for a spiritual people, they got the Book of Jakar. That revelation,
it's a salvation.
Have hit him. Really, you don't go through something like that and remain unchanged.
Yeah. Well, I was expecting we would talk about, Jakar right after. We kind of touched on it, but I mean, it's pretty obvious to me that this is a huge turning point for Jakar. This is like him, a saint coming down from heaven and touching him and giving him some sort of wisdom or something like that, because he seems to be, I'm not saying he's totally changed yet, because we haven't seen that, but he is, I think it's pretty obvious he's going to spend the 60 days in jail. And he's going to be and that's the last scene. He's reflecting, so he's going to come out. I would expect when next time we see him in an episode or two, however long that is, he's going to be a changed Narn. He is going to have some sort of He's going to have some sort of clear path where he's going to follow, and he's going to be a different person. Very less petty and less bent on revenge, and
And even the point where Garibaldi tries to hand him back the Book of Jakar, and he says, you keep it.
Implies that right there.
I'm much closer to the source.
That's right. He doesn't need the book anymore because he's been touched by God, so to speak.
Yeah.
Yeah. And can we talk sentencing on Babylon 5? 60 days? Seriously? I had to look it up. For aggravated GBH in the UK, the sentencing is between 2 and 16 years.
Yeah.
And he got 60 days.
At first, I was like, you could sentence. I'm like, they're gonna mind wipe him. We're gonna get a totally different car.
Oh no,
They're gonna mind wipe him, and they're like, oh no, 60 days. I go, 60 days. He beat two people to a pulp. The ambassador of a,
I
mean, almost to death. That's what that's what Franklin says. He says, is he gonna be okay? And he goes, it's kind of touch and go, but he should be all right. Maybe we'll see.
The judge said that she didn't buy Sheridan's, point for leniency, but maybe she kind of did.
Yeah, that was Sheridan's point was pretty lame. I mean, didn't. He was under. Yeah.
He was on a drug fueled rage. He
took the drugs. He walked into the hallway. There was a bunch of people who went by. He didn't attack them. He went down the hallway, or wherever, went to Londo's quarters, and then
they figured Londo had it coming.
Yeah. I do wonder, it's not implied, but I do wonder whether Londo in the background said he didn't want a harsh penalty for Jakar.
Yeah. And he wasn't there. Really? Like, finally I'm going to get your car.
The victim wasn't there to testify.
I assumed he was still injured. That's why he wasn't there. But
right after that, we saw him back in his quarters.
In his quarters.
Yeah.
And they were drinking. He was still hurt, but he's obviously out of the hospital. He's
right, because Veer's got like a broken arm or whatever. His arm is in a sling.
But then the problem I had with it, Cam, was that we don't know the timeline. Like, we don't know how long he's being sentenced. How long is it after the incident happened? It can't be tomorrow, but it's got to be some weeks later. But
we did see Londo in Medbay before
with Veer. There.
So but I mean, he was still scratched
that was
up.
Right
so
after.
I think it was relatively soon after.
I mean, that's quick. That's quick justice.
That's true.
We've seen it's quick justice in the 23rd century.
This is frontier justice. You got to get him going.
Yeah, it's been quick, so I'm not surprised if it wouldn't be like they're talking about. When the mind wipe episode. A couple weeks later, the guy's being sentenced and stuff. So it's a lot faster justice.
Let me ask.
Oh no, sorry. I'm not. That's not always true. I forgot. Yeah. When Garibaldi goes, it's been a long time. It was a year, right, for that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So but he also did. He also did kind of. He didn't throw himself on the mercy of the court. Sheridan tried to speak up for him, and he was like, "No, I accept the punishment." He did do the whole mea culpa, my bad. Yes, I am guilty of this. I did look it up here in Tennessee. Here, for just a regular battery, would be is like 11 months and 29 days or something like that, and then for aggravated is like 2 to 15 years. So that's and that was probably an aggravated battery, definitely. So I mean, that's the minimum. It goes up from there, 3 to 15. So for 60 days, it's like, you got in a bar fight. Okay, I can see 60 days for a bar fight, maybe. But
this was premeditated and
clearly, he was focused the whole time. I did get a kick out of when he Veer and Londo are in there, and Veer goes to answer the door and says, "What did you drop now, Veer?" And it's like, Veer got dropped. That's what dropped. So, but
he got dropped out of consciousness. What did you guys think about Londo? He didn't seem. It's like he didn't really seem angry about it. When he was talking to Veer, in his quarters, it wasn't like. It's like he was almost accepting of it too. It's like, oh yeah, his sins have been kind of laid bare.
They were laughing about it, right? Because Veer said, "I wish I could have helped protected you," and then Londo says, "I would have just beat you up and cut you, ground you to a pulp or something." I can't remember the exact words. And then they go, and they laugh about it. So I thought that was a little unusual for Londo. I wasn't quite sure how to,
but it might
take that.
It might be a hint of, as I alluded to before, maybe there's a change happening in Londo. But because of going through this experience and going and kind of putting, everything has been, kind of here and there and what. Now all of these things were put together in one short, brief period of time, and I think that's something that, it may have he may have come to this realization that, oh crap, uh, yes, now my enemy knows what has transpired, and I didn't mean for it to go this far. Perhaps I tried cutting off, breaking off ties with these people, and but just the horrors that Londo has perpetrated upon, the Narn, through his actions or deliberate choices that he's made. So.
I'm not
Excellent
sure
acting, by the way. I thought both Jakar and Londo, they had the most convincing scenes of this whole episode. They were clearly.
I'd say Jakar. He does some really good angry scenes with his screaming. You almost can see his teeth, and he's furious and stuff. I would agree. But if I had to give it to one, I'd say Jakar. He had the more forceful scenes, the more,
He was the aggressor. So,
did you guys notice that Londo at one point when Jakar was going at him, he said it was a mistake?
Yeah.
In reference to these things.
Yeah.
What do you think he was referring to specifically? Yeah, his interaction with Morden.
Yeah, he didn't know it would go so far. I think that's what he's referring to. Like, I didn't mean it to go so far, is what he's saying.
Yeah, and off the cuff remark to one person, I just want to see my people return to the stars. That small domino that just set all the others in motion. And I think he's referring to that moment. It was a mistake. I shouldn't have said that.
Is that the Ferdinand whatever type of moment you'd perhaps?
Yeah, it is. Just that first interaction with Morden.
What do you want?
Yeah, what do you want? And he was honest, and that honesty opened the door for the shadows to go, yeah, he's the person we can manipulate.
Yep. Yeah. And like I said, I suspect that they're doing the same thing. We know that it's now been revealed, but Snob and I both have suspected for a long time that the shadows were involved, at least in some way, one way or another, with Earthdom. We now, it's been revealed that is true. And speaking of that, the blonde Psychor, was she the same one that we saw in that scene where Morden was revealed?
You mean the one at the end of the episode?
At the very end of this episode, when we see, the woman, the blonde woman from Psychor, was she the same woman that we saw in that prior episode where the assassination? We saw that that Morden had been meeting on Earth.
No, there was a guy psychop in that scene.
Yeah, but was okay. I thought
no. You might be referring to the Lazarus Project, where you saw a female psychop
that's
in there, and I don't think the two are the same.
What about the one that was on Mars? I don't know. Anyway, again, I've only seen the series once, and I haven't seen every episode twice. I haven't seen the whole series yet, so I've only seen up to now once.
Not to make Jeff and I look, Jeff's point about us being, seeing this, what's going on, but it just seems very not to make us look dumber than we are, but it seems pretty obvious that if Morden's going around to everybody, he's probably going around to Earth as well. And asking them what it is they want. So that's I kind of assumed that at the beginning, but like I don't think he goes. This is like season so far long ago. Morden doesn't go to. Did he go to the staff, the command staff?
No, he doesn't.
He didn't ask them at all.
No.
So he's obvious. They're not. They're not that important.
He's seeking out key people.
So. Yeah, just because he goes to the Mimbar and the Centauri, the Narn, it makes sense that he would go to Earth and do the same with.
Clearly,
and clearly
we knew
he went to Clark.
What Clark wanted.
He said it to Clark. What do you want? And Clark says, "I want to kill this guy. Who's president. I want to
become the president." Yeah, I hate that guy. Well, how come? That's so weird that you hate the. I wonder if that's a callback to
the U.S. presidencies.
Yeah, I'm thinking
Remember, it
Kennedy
used to be the
Johnson, maybe.
Yeah, the vice president used to be the guy who lost, right?
Well, yeah, but
original.
it has not been like that
For a long time. You're right.
over 200
since
years.
1800 or whatever.
Yeah.
But,
you were talking about Lyndon Johnson.
Yeah, I was talking about Johnson. I don't think Johnson liked Kennedy particularly.
No. They were different factions of their party.
And there was always, especially back in the mid 90s, when did JFK come out? That would have been right around that era, wasn't it? Or pretty fresh to that.
What do you mean JFK came out?
The movie,
yeah. Yeah, probably around there.
Yeah. So, I could, that was a big in the news, the conspiracy theories and all that stuff was really popular mid 90s. So I could definitely see that was even kind of maybe another kind of hidden little connection.
So the psychop, the lady psychop, she appears in A Race Through Dark Places, working with Bester again when they're going after the Underground Railroad on Babylon 5.
So we did see her.
She works closely with Bester, but we've seen other psychops that obviously don't. So that's what I'm saying. I think Psychor itself has a lot of silos
Yeah, because that's definitely when you have secrets, like you said, you kind of isolate. One hand, left hand does. You don't want the left hand knowing what the right hand is doing necessarily, So, loose lips sink ships. If one gets exposed, the others can still remain.
All right, we're at the 2-hour mark. I think we're ready to sum up the episode. Go to the end. Do you want to do trivia before we do final thoughts?
Sure, that worked out.
Let's do trivia. Let's do it that way. Let me just turn this off. We'll go. Okay, so trivia. Let's get this up. So that's so this week's trivia questions for Dust to Dust. Which station officer intervenes on behalf of the shopkeeper? That's a pretty easy one. Who activates the defense grid to kill Bester? Who is responsible for the creation of Dust? How long is Jakar sentenced to serve in jail? Very short amount of time. How did Londo get the job of ambassador to Babylon 5? So I think we've mentioned.
I think we did cover all of them at least briefly once. We touched on every one of them.
Should be pretty easy if you don't get the answers. Yeah. All right. Final thoughts, Dean. You want to start off? We'll go Dean, Jeff, and yeah.
Yep. I think it was another fantastic episode. Really, the relationship now between Londo and Jakar, I can't see how that relationship can remain the same going forward. And I don't see how Jakar can't remain the same person he was in the previous episode. I think for character development and growth, fantastic. Walter Koenig playing Bester, he was wasted on Star Trek. And I think given a chance to show his acting and show how he comes across, someone in chat mentioned it, one of the best anti-villains, and he just has charisma and gravitas when he's on screen. Loved every scene. I think that's definitely a solid episode, apart from one extra's really bad acting towards the end. I'd actually give this, it's between an 8 and 9 out of 10. I think it's a fantastic episode.
All right, Jeff.
Yeah, I'm kind of, Dean probably hit most of the marks that I was going to point out. I was thinking 8.5, really. It was, I think the interaction between, and especially Jakar, but Jakar and Londo, those scenes were very, very well done, and you felt the emotions that Jakar was going through, as well as the pain and the realization, maybe a little bit, that Londo, the things that he had done. I loved the interaction between Garibaldi, the back and forth tit for tat with Garibaldi and Bester. The one scene I think that was maybe a little pushed too far was the Ivanova scene where she's, and we almost kind of glossed over that, where she's like ready to blast Bester out of the sky. She clears the bridge. That's kind of weird that the commander would be clearing the bridge and say, go take a coffee break or something. I'm gonna blow these people out of the sky. She thinking, and then coincidentally Sheridan walks in and stops her at the last moment. That was maybe a little bit overhanded, but overall, yeah, great episode. There's a lot of things. I think it's important now that Jakar has had this almost like I said before, a salvation moment. That almost like he's just kind of had this new thing. So the question is are we going to see Jakar in the next episode? Is he going to be still serving his term, or are we going to advance in the future a little bit? That begs to be seen. But again, 8.5 out of 10. I think this was a great overall episode.
Ken?
I can't disagree with any of that. It was a little strange because it was kind of a side episode in terms of the overt plot, the dust thing, but it served such a great purpose. That being this massive development for Jakar, I love it. It was done extremely well. The performances, with Jakar by Andreas Katsulas were great. Veer and Londo also great. I always my favorites. It kind of it was a little strange that like Sheridan just kind of disappeared. For most of the episode, he was very light with Sheridan in this.
He just kind of popped up.
Yeah, at the beginning and then at the end kind of thing. And they had a little bit with Bester, but given that it was a Bester thing and that's kind of Earth focused, it was very light on most of the the Earth people. We had the bit with Garibaldi. That's not a complaint. It's just I think it's actually a good use of characters. You don't always have to have the Kirk Spock thing, going on. So yeah, it's a very good episode. I'd say it's a 9.
Okay, that's fair.
I agree with most what every had said. I'm gonna strongly agree with Dean with the whole Walter Koenig thing. And yeah, he's way much of like I always thought he was, pretty lame on Star Trek. He just sits there and speaks in a fake Russian accent, and mispronounces words. But he's actually a way better actor than that. And they did, he should have done way more on Star Trek, unfortunately. But I'm going to disagree on one thing with Jeff said, and that's Ivanova. I like this little bit with Ivanova. I think it showed a little bit more of her character, and maybe she's the character to make the hard choices instead, for when Sheridan can't make it. Sheridan's trying to hold on a second.
Cat problems.
Cat. Good thing he doesn't have a camera when we see Cat butt.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, she can seem to make, I like the aspect that, Sheridan's kind of more of the nice guy a little bit, and he's like, no, we got to do it the right way. But someone should be willing to make the hard decisions, and maybe we're going to see her character develop more into that person who say, no, sometimes you have to kill. And then maybe there's some conflict between her and Sheridan about that. And I'm not saying that Sheridan was, necessarily wrong in this situation or whatever, but just seeing that conflict is interesting. And I like that they're developing her a little more. Part of the problem in season 1 is that, a lot of us didn't like the Ivanova character, but it's partly because they weren't giving her enough. She wasn't being developed enough, other than her background character and her religion and stuff. But that's not really as interesting as the character on the what she does as an officer and that kind of thing. So I'm hoping we'll see a little more of that. I like that aspect of it. I give it an 8. That's pretty good for me. I think it's a very strong episode, and Cam's right about it not being directly involved, but it's pulling these pieces. I mean, you're going to have a big change, I think, between Jakar and Londo, and I think this is a step caution involving now bringing the Narns into this conspiracy of light. Maybe we're finally going to see them in it, but yeah.
So we're basically
that's
pretty much, we're all pretty much on the same page. I mean, Dean and I both gave it 8.5, a 9 from Cam, and an 8 from Snob. That it's an average of 8.5. So
PB, we know why Ivanova hates the Psy-Corps. We got that in season 1 and 2. Because of what they did to her family, her mother, who was a psychic. But
and what she went through as a child. Yeah.
All right. Okay, that's it. So all right, let's go into. I'm going to bring Madman into the show real quick. We're going to do guest promotions and stuff. So I'm going to pull him in because he's going to talk a little bit about. He's going to mention next week. But let's let Dean go first.
Dean, and any promo stuff, I'll be very, very, very brief. We're about to launch. We've had to delay it a month, but we're going to launch a free complimentary rules adventure with the rules for Untold Destiny, some pre-gen characters, and some time after that, we're going to actually release a light version of the rules. So, follow us on YouTube or follow us on X to get the latest news.
All right, thanks.
Madman.
Jeff, why don't you go, Jeff, and then we'll go Madman.
Can you full screen me?
Yeah.
All right. Coming up on the Bad News Bards this Sunday, prior to your show, Top Lofty Lounge, at 9:00, we actually have a guest coming on. We've got Daniel from Driving and Dragons, who has a Kickstarter that's currently going on called Corvid Codex. Kind of an interesting, he's trying to get some stuff going for that. So we're going to see what we can do on that one. And then, of course, coming up after that, Cam will leave. We run about 90 minutes or so, and then Cam goes and takes his break and comes and sees, gets ready for his next show. What is that? What is that show, Cam?
Oh, yes, the Top Lofty Lounge on the Sunday nights at 11 p.m. Eastern. We talk about stuff. This week we are doing a movie night, correct, Snob?
You bet.
Okay.
Movie night.
Start off.
Well, no. Actually, the last check I did was that they are both equal amount of votes, 50-50 between the two of them. So I don't know.
So everybody go vote for Zardoff because we want to see.
Go vote for, if you want a quick vote for. I'm going to leave it open a little bit because I don't want to be the deciding vote. So if
we want them to have to go watch, Sean Connery running around in a leather diaper.
You better close the vote by tomorrow morning because I need to watch this thing at some point. So
yeah, me too. So we gotta So I'm gonna have to close it soon. I'll see what happens, and then we'll go from there. But please vote so I don't have to decide.
Okay.
All right. Madman, do you want to talk about next week?
Yes. First of all, we got Madman Cafe Monday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Haven't decided what we're going to talk about, but there's a lot out there. We'll get that finalized by the weekend. But Tuesday, we have a new show. Well, besides all those shows, we got a new show coming up. Yes, that's right. We're going to be doing Star Trek Academy reviews of the episodes, starting with episode 3. It's Vitus Reflux on there. It's live at 3 p.m. Eastern. And Snob will be joining me, and Outpost Nerd will be joining me as well to review how bad of an episode that this could be. From the picture, you'll understand.
Feed me, Seymour. I have an Audrey. I keep her hung up. Right now she's inside because it's too cold. Yeah.
And then,
of course, the big thing that we're doing. Oh, sorry, you're gonna talk. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. Wednesday, Peter Jurasic will be joining us at a special time, 8 p.m. Eastern. He's excited to be with us. I've spoken with him, and he says, I'm so excited to be on the show this week. Wednesday, January 28th, 8 p.m. Eastern, right here on Snob's channel, on Sci-Fi for Me TV, and Death Angel's channel, Tennessee Tabletop Tavern. Yep. It'll be simulcast on all 3 of those channels. Now, if you missed this, you will be able to see a re-airing of it on Madman Cafe on the following Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern. So you'll have several chances to catch this. And don't forget, leave your questions. If you want to say something out there, ask them on there. This is the time to do it.
Show that QR code again, Snob.
Yes. All right, there it is.
And I'll find it and drop it in the chat too.
And you get a link. Go to the you can go to the link. If you've got a QR code, you can do that. It takes
I'll tell you, Peter was it was so fun on Tuesday.
Oh, it was great. He was so
great.
Awesome.
We've already done some promos for the channels on there. Of course, you've seen the promo for the show. We had so much fun doing that. I mean, it was so great. I think we're going to be doing like maybe a blooper thing on there afterwards, because the bloopers alone is hysterical.
Yeah. What is this? we gave him some tongue twisters, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
Don't spoil it. Don't spoil it.
No. But he was so gracious and such an awesome, delightful person to talk to. I mean, I can't. He's. I see why everybody loved him. Why everybody said. I think even JMS said he said the actor that played Jakar was a god or something like that, and he said, Peter Jurasik was the next best thing to sliced bread. He was just going raving about how much of a great person, and having spoken with him, he definitely is. He's a delight to speak with.
And he was so much fun to do the promos. He was.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we were scared on the promos. Let me tell you, it's like we had all this listing for that, and we're like, okay, he may say, I'm just gonna do one. He went through
like, every
one of them like a trooper. He's like, give me more.
Yeah.
Give me more. That's it.
I do have to say that I was one of the promos. I said, I say this and then just put a Londo quote in there, and he took me to task, and he goes, what do you think? I just wake up every morning and I just memorize these Londo quotes. I'm just sitting there. My wife is doing stuff. She's going off God knows where, and I'm just memorizing Londo quotes from 30 years ago. I'm like, just pick a good Londo quote. He's like, I don't remember them all, basically. So,
Assassins of
he
Joy.
took me to task a little bit. He did remember that Moonface Assassin the one night.
That one was great. That was perfect. You
think I study these quotes all the time? Give me the quote. Don't make me try to figure it out. But so.
Also, I believe Jason, because I was just sort of texting back and forth with Jason. I think Jason is doing a show tomorrow.
Oh, is he? Okay, great.
Okay.
Yeah, because he was asking for the ad. So.
Oh, okay, great. Yeah. So Jason too. Yeah. All right. Is there any last minute things? I think we've got everything. Hopefully we'll see you next week at a special time for our special interview. It should be good. Get your questions in. You be saying, remember, Cam's the moderator for next week. So if it goes badly, I'm going to blame him. But he'll be watching the chat, and he'll be picking out good questions and inserting them if he sees them. He's like, yeah, that's a good question. So yeah, dust off your best questions. Give them to us before. It'll make it easier, because then Jeff will put them down, and he'll.
We want to go through them and find the gems, and we're certain that there's going to be a lot of. We think we want to avoid duplicates. Yeah, we don't want to have like multiple people asking the same exact question. So,
but if you're watching the show and you're in the chat and you think of a good question and you want to throw in the chat, just be known that we will be watching. Cam will be watching.
Absolutely.
We'll be watching, and we'll, if they're a good question, we'll highlight it for sure.
Absolutely.
We like interaction with our chat. So yeah, did I miss anything, Cam?
It's not like super chats too.
No, I think that's good.
That's everything. All right. Thanks everybody for watching the show. Great show. We had a high of around 26 or 27, 28 around there. So that's great. We like people coming in. Feel free to let us know what you think in the chat. Leave some comments, like or subscribe on the way out. And please come back and watch next week's show. It should be a good one.
Yeah, thanks
good
for
night, everyone.
All right, good night, everybody.
Good night. You moon face assassin.